My name's Mead, Corporate Development Manager at Southern Cross Gold. We are a ASX, TSX listed company, and so with that, I have not only one, but two and three disclaimers. So thanks for reading all of them, and we'll get straight into it. So Southern Cross Gold, we have 100% ownership of the Sunday Creek gold-antimony opportunity in Victoria. We believe that we are creating the highest margin gold business in the world that is going to come onto the market. Three things that underpin what we're doing. We have grade, we have scale, and we have a strategic co-product, which is antimony. And Michael Hudson does send his apologies. He can't be here with us today because he's actually in Washington, DC, talking to government officials in DC with an Australian government delegation of critical minerals. And antimony is certainly attracting the attention of the Americans in today's market. So what stands out about Southern Cross Gold? Well, one metric is that we've had so far out of 91 kilometres of drilling, 69 plus 100 gram metre intercepts of gold. That's averaging one every 1,500 metres, which is exceptional. And we don't see how there are any other opportunities in the world today that are producing such results. To make sure that we maintain the momentum, we have started recently a 200 kilometre drilling program at the property, which has been funded by $158 million in cash. We did raise some money in May last year with the intention of going forward towards the pathway to production. Victoria. Those that know Australia might sort of shriek a little bit with Victoria, but Victoria is certainly open for business today, and the government in Victoria has been extremely supportive of our operations, and I'll go into that a little bit further into the presentation. We own over 1,000 hectares of land in the area, which gives us areas in which we can develop where there are very minimal people in the location, and again I'll show you that. And we own 100%, and no commercial royalties. There is a state-based royalty of 2.75%, otherwise known as the Fosterville tax, thanks to our friends up the road at the Agnico operation. Things to consider here is the market cap. We've done extremely well lately, so we're up towards 1.8 billion, 158 million cash, 250 odd million shares on issue. But one of the secrets to our success is not just the asset that we have in the ground, but we have a fantastic shareholder base. So we've got 31% of high net worth individuals, many of the names that you'll see there, Pierre Lasson, Darren Morecambe, and these guys are just an asset in their own right, in the way in which they give us advice and expertise on how to develop projects in the world. And then we have roughly 25% as well of world-class institutional assets, and I can see at least one beloved shareholder in the audience here today. And in looking not directly at him, but what I wanted to tell him is that we are all focused on value per share, and we are driven by that as a fundamental philosophy. Now, Sunday Creek, there's a gentleman in Australia called Richard Shoddy. He's done a survey on world-class assets that have been developed or found in Australia in the recent 10 years. So you can see in Western Australia there's a lot of names there that you've got to all recognise. And then down in Victoria, we've got ourselves and the Fosterville mine, which are 100 kilometres apart. Now, this is just a very quick description of the progression of Sunday Creek from the very early days. And early days are around about the 1880s, 1890s, and there was operations in the region. This particular diagram here is of the Golden Dyke mine, and that was the deepest at the property back in, it ended around about World War I. That went down to 180 metres. Then after that, there's only been about 5,000 metres drilled in that area, very shallow drilling, looking at the oxide. So when we bought the properties in 2020, that was basically the extent of the exploration and post-production at the property. And the legend here, the pink, 100-gram intercepts, so keep that in mind. We listed Southern Cross out of a Canadian company called Mawson Gold in May 2022. So just before that IPO, you can see that we had already started hitting a few of these 100-gram metre intercepts, which started getting the interest in the company pre-IPO. But the major awakening within the market was hole 50, which is this one here, that came in at around about 300 metres at 5 grams per tonne. And that's where we attracted the attention of Darren Morecambe, Pierre Lasson, Kirill Sokolov, and that really set us on a path towards greater support from the investor base. Last year, we put out our maiden exploration target, a non-JORC compliant estimation, so it's not a resource. And we had it centred around what we have as the rising sun and the Apollo prospects of the property. And then we followed up earlier this year with an expansion of that exploration target, which then included Golden Dyke and a bit more around the Apollo area, to be a exploration target of 2.2 to 3.2 million ounces at 8.3 to 10.6 grams per tonne equivalent, with antimony making up 20% of the in-situ value of the property. Now, I've mentioned Fosterville a couple of times. It is a good analogy for us. It's the same gold event, which is epizonal gold. And what we can see is that white box here is basically that area that I showed you before of where we've been drilling. So put it into context. Fosterville has been drilling exploration holes down to 2,000 metres. This particular box is 1.5k wide, 1k deep. And we are putting in a hole right now at about 1,500 metres. And that's to prove the concept of the continuity of the gold in the veins to depth. Because we believe, given the same gold event, different host rocks and structures, but we think that this particular project can get down to 2,000 metres as well. So we can actually double the amount of gold in that 1.5 kilometre stretch down to 2 kilometres. And then further along the trend, we've got 10 kilometres of historic mining, IP, test soils, which show that there's been gold up and down that trend for another 10 kilometres. We've only put 2.5 kilometres into it along that trend, but that is going to be a focus going forward. So what are we going to do going forward? Well, we raised $160 million Australian in May. We still have roughly about that amount of money in the bank today, but we are undertaking a 200-kilometre drill program for the next 2 years, and that will cost us, we're a bit schizophrenic here, so I'm now going to say Canadian dollars, but that's 53 Canadian, maybe 60 Aussie, to go to a maiden resource in Q1 2027. Now, what's going to facilitate that drill out is a decline development, and that's with the government at the moment, the permit to do so. As I mentioned before, the Victorian government has been very supportive of this project, and we have put in a work plan to apply for permitting this decline, 100 metres deep, 700 metres into the body. The government has come back with their initial response. We have to reply to that, and again we put forward our replies. We're expecting that permit should be granted by the end of this year. So if it is the case, then we've got a $27 million budget to actually construct that decline, and we anticipate that's going to take 6 months to build out, and we can progressively add rigs into that decline as we go forward, with the expectation that we finish it towards the middle of the year of 2026, and then we can start really drilling out after that. Today, we actually have 9 rigs on the surface, and we're going to 10 rigs in about a month's time. And then after we've built out the decline, we're going to put in another 12 rigs. So in total, we're going to have 22 rigs running, which we believe is the largest drill program in Australia today. Now, that is in that one box that you saw to the west where the resource has already been drilled out to a fair degree. But we are not forgetting the exploration upside, and so we've got a $20 million budget to have 2 rigs going up and down that 10-kilometre trend and testing in and around all those old historic mines. We do have expectations that we should be able to find a few more discoveries along that line. Historic mining has shown that in the old days in the 19th century, the miners of those days were chasing veins in the same orientation as they were chasing the veins where we've got already up towards 3 million ounces in the main zone. And then finally, once we've got a resource, we will look to put out a PEA in 2027 as well. So here we are. The Victorian government is very open for business. They're very supportive. And last month in Kalgoorlie at Diggers, we did get up there in front of our West Australian and friends and said that the data shows that Victoria is the best place in Australia to permit a mine today. And that's because in the last 12 months or so, the Victorian government has indeed permitted 4 different mines in the state. 3 are industrial minerals out to the west, and then the 4th is actually the Fosterville life extension, which was quite an achievement after many years of being in the system. There was a change in Premier at Victoria, and she is actually the local member for Fosterville, and so with her we saw that there was an expedition of getting the permitting done, and so Agnico is now able to continue on at Fosterville for the coming years. I'm not the geologist, but what I just want to tell you is the way in which the gold mineralisation at Sunday Creek and Fosterville differentiates itself from the way in which many think of Victoria. The Mesozonal gold event during the Ordovician era, that's the one that created the Bendigo Ballarat gold, which in the last couple of years has become difficult in reconciling due to the nuggety nature of that style of gold. 70 million years later, in the Devonian age, we had an epizonal gold event which created the Fosterville Costerfield and now the Sunday Creek opportunities. The key to that is depth, high grade at depth. So we actually did follow on from Costerfield and Fosterville fairly quickly to start drilling deep, and we've achieved those results so far. And here we are. If ever any of you have ever been to our site or will be coming to our site, you will stand pretty much where these old fellas are. This is the old Golden Dyke mine, and this is where we actually do stand to introduce everybody to the project. Just to show, in 1901, our friendly cyanide factory were giving out Christmas cards in the area. Now, I won't go into this one. This looks very detailed, and it is. But what I want to demonstrate is that the beige-coloured hits for the top 10 intersections on the project have been here in the last 12 months. And that's because our host structure is a very targetable structure. The geological team are right on top of where to look and how to find it. Now, another thing that people have thought was, well, you're high grade, but you must be thin-veined, which is not the case. This is a population of all data points that we've got at the property, and what we show here is that within this particular box, we've got a huge population of intercepts which are between 2.3 to 3.8 in median width, metres in median width, which is a mechanical width to mine. And then over on top of that, we actually have another large population which is even wider and at high grade. So we will be able to mine this. Costerfield has narrower veins, but can still make a profit. We will have very wide mineable veins, which I can also show you later. Very quickly, we're Melbourne, 5 million people, down the bottom here. We're up here at 60, actually I'll go into blue, Sunday Creek, 60 kilometres north of Melbourne. Costerfield here, another 60 k's from us, and Fosterville, another 100 k's from us, or 100 k's from us. Just a very quick point on Melbourne. We are now actually building out the team to build this mine. We've recently put on a new CFO. We're bringing on a Chief Operating Officer and other C-suite executives. And one of the attractions is that these future employees can live in Melbourne and drive up to site in 60 minutes, which we think is going to be an attraction for executives going forward. Now, very quickly, here we are at the Sunday Creek project. So I'll just make sure you can see it properly. That main drill area there is this area that we have. So that's where we've got the 2.2 to 3.2 million ounces. And this is the trend going to the northeast for another 10. We actually own the 1,000 odd hectares of land, which is basically this area here. And after we purchased this land, that actually opened up that strike another 1 or 2 Ks because we previously weren't able to get onto that land. We've got old mines dotted all the way around, and so we've got plenty of room to grow going forward. Very quickly, this is just a schematic of the decline that we're bringing in, a bit of infrastructure at the bottom. We're going to build a purpose-built core shed on the property, and as the dike that goes through crosses the decline, so we're going to have access to the footwall and also to the hanging wall along the strike. So this is our golden ladder. I think many of you might have heard of the golden ladder, and this is the host formation. And so what we have is a dike, breccia dike through the middle, altered sediments on either side, and so the extent of the host structure are what we call the rails of the ladder, and then cross-cutting that are the extensional quartz carbonate veins, which create the rungs of the ladder. And it's in the connection of the dike and the veins where the really high-grade gold falls out. So this is now also looking underground, and the blue area is our exploration target that we have today. And the important thing to note, if I then zoom out again a little bit, is that since that exploration target of March this year, we have been drilling in the Christina area, which is over here, and that's already started to hit some of the highest grades on the property. And just last week, we put out a few more results at Apollo East, which is becoming its own independent zone of mineralisation. Once again, deepest hit is 1,100 metres, more or less, at about 125 grams. That's a schematic of a picture of the region. So we will be able to develop into this area here. This is our land, all around here, basically, and this is where we can build our infrastructure. The closest person looking in that way is probably up on the ridge here, about 3 kilometres away. The network, we're not refractory. How about that? So free gold. The flow sheet is going to look a lot like Costerfield's flow sheet, so gravity separation, gold-antimony con, sulfide con. It's pretty much bucket science metallurgy, and there are no real red flags at the property for this. Antimony, I won't go into it, but we are the 3rd largest Western future supplier of antimony at the moment, with further drilling to go, so this number will increase. And finally, getting towards the end of it, our people, you know, we can't do anything without good people. A lot of our workforce is local. We're an Australian-based board, Australian-based management, and the community relations are strong. We've developed a community relation group. We've got good relations with municipal government, state government, and the federal government. So finally, we're a rare global asset. There's not many companies out there that are getting the hit rate that we're doing in a tier 1 asset, in a tier 1 jurisdiction with very high grade gold and antimony. As I said, we're the largest, or one of the largest sources of antimony in the Western world. We've got huge exploration upside with only about 10% tested. The government in Victoria is open for business and very supportive. And just as importantly, we've got some seasoned shareholders that are very supportive of us, and we've got a team that's been around for a long time, knows what to do, and fully prepared to take this business into production. So with that, I'd like to thank you And over to you, Dan.
Thank you so much for joining us, Nicholas.